All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Jacob's Journey. Today we're going to be doing a video about 9/11. Um, I thought it'd be a good contribute to everybody and keeping this story going every year. I think I'm going to do one on it. Just not letting it die. It was one of the worst things that happened to me in U.S., in our lifetime anyway. Um, so that being if it was from terrorism or our own people, it was one of the worst things that ever happened. All right, so welcome to Jacob's Journey. Let's like, share, and subscribe. Trying to get our subscribers up. We're at 334 right now. Trying to get to 500. So let's help me out there. We got a great video for you guys today. Okay. All the information tonight is coming from Wicked Spooks. In the search bar, type 9/11, and this will pop up. This is not where all my information comes from, but tonight on this particular topic, it is where it's coming from. So, that being said, I encourage all my subscribers to do their own research and look it up for yourself. I'll send it out there and make you guys think, right? Maybe, this is not, it's not, what they're telling you is not always the truth, okay? It's not always the truth. And right now in this world, it is getting very hard to distinguish what's truth and what's false, okay? They're making it very, very hard, okay? So I don't really, the rule of thumb that I use, I really don't believe none of it until I do my own research, and then I'll determine if it's true or not. Okay. All right. So the morning of 9/11, 2001, 19 men armed with box cutters, directed by a man on dialysis, Bin Laden, okay, orchestrated one of the most profound attacks the U.S. have ever seen. Okay. He done this all while inside a cave on a satellite phone and a laptop. It's crazy. All right? That is amazing. Okay? They overpowered the passengers and the military trained pilots on all four planes before flying those planes wildly off course for over an hour and never got intercepted by our fighter jets. These 19 hijackers who do coke, smoke weed, love pink-haired prostitutes, managed to knock down 3 buildings with 2 planes in New York. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause there. 3 buildings with 2 planes. While in Washington, a pilot that couldn't handle a single engine plane was able to fly a 757 in an 8,000 descent, perfectly level with the ground, straight into the Pentagon. Okay, people? That is incredible piloting skills, right? Incredible. Okay? And where he flew that plane into? All right, the office, right where the DOT was doing the transactions, trying to find the $2.3 trillion that were missing. Right? The same office. So, bam. There you go. In Rumsfeld, right? He did a story. What was it? A press conference on September 10th that the money was missing. So, luckily the plane hit the exact spot where they were trying to find, the DOT was trying to find the money, and I wish that plane wouldn't have hit it, or maybe we could have located that $2.3 trillion. Right? A lot of people say it wasn't an airplane that hit it all. It was a missile. And I've seen the video one time. Haven't seen it again. But what do I know? Okay? What do I know? When I look at the pictures of the Pentagon, I'll try to put them up, crashed up. I don't see no plane. I don't see no wings. I don't see no engines. I don't see nothing. Okay? It's kind of weird. Okay? Kind of makes you think. Okay? All right, that's what my channel is all about. Kind of gets your wheels turning there, okay? Maybe it's not what they tell you. Okay? Maybe it's not. All right. But the people like me that demanded an investigation, it was delayed, underfunded, set up to fail, a conflict from interest, and a cover-up from day one, right? So they did not want this investigation. Okay, they did not. Couple of things here too. They found the passengers or the hijackers' passports. Okay, about a block away, just happened to fall right into the FBI's hands and midst of all them rubble and buildings that came down. Okay, I'm not talking about a 20 by 20 building that just fell. I'm talking about I don't know how many stories it was, 87, 90 story building that came down. But hey, we just found the 2 passports, man. Lucky us, right? FBI, we got them. Okay. And then, with that, they backtracked everything else to bin Laden, I guess, right? So the FBI, you guys be careful. They're not saints, right? Okay. Who's the director now? It's, Kash Patel, right? He's a director for the FBI right now. I think he's testifies to Congress today about the Charlie Kirk investigation. So you're probably going to see him. You probably seen him on the news here lately about that subway stabbing and then Charlie Kirk and everything else, right? So he's the director of the FBI right now. All right. So, excuse me. So the FBI, they're not, oh, God. Oh, thank God the FBI is here. Maybe not, maybe not. Okay. Now, based on the people that are being tortured, then later escaped, they failed to mention about the World Trade Center 7. So they were torturing people and then getting the information and letting them. I don't know if they were torturing them. They probably just sitting them there having a coffee and they needed to buy some time and then, okay, you can leave. But they were saying that they were giving them information on bin Laden and where he's at and all that stuff, right? So, but World Trade Center 7, now let's talk about that a little bit. That is the 3rd building that fell when I said they hit 3 buildings with 2 planes, right? So why Trade Center 7, right? I don't know. And nobody probably will ever know. But I speculate that it was for money, like, I don't know, insurance. You know what I mean? And something about insurance too. Now, one of the trade centers, I heard the owner or whatever you want to say of the building was late that day and, stuck in traffic or something, right? But the first day he was late and ever. And like a month prior, he took out terrorism insurance on that building. And he got paid a substantial amount for that. I'm talking a large amount. So I don't know why 7 fell. But, I mean, that's kind of what's going on. All right. They failed to mention P-TECH, OBL, and in the CIA, the drills of the hijackers' aircraft being flown into buildings that were being simulated at the precise time that those events were actually happening. It was lied to by the Pentagon, the CIA, the Bush administration. And as far as Bush and Cheney go, well, I guess we'll never know what they testified because they're testified in secret, off the record, not under oath, and behind closed doors. They didn't even bother to look into who funded the attacks because that question is ultimately of little significance. Still, the 9/11 Commission did brilliantly by answering the questions of the public had accepted most of the victims' families. Right? So, Bush and Cheney got a pass, right? Their testimonies went behind closed doors. So, that's probably one of the perks of being that high up, or whatever you want to say, right? The terms of the attacks were failure of imagination because our government, at least, I don't think the prior government that could envision flying airplanes into the buildings, except the Pentagon, FEMA, NORAD, and the NRO and the DIA, destroyed 2.5 terabytes of data on Able Danger. That's okay because it probably wasn't important. The SEC destroyed their records on the investigation into the insider trading because of attacks, but that's okay. Destroying the records of the largest investigation in SEC history is just part of routine records. Keeping this has classified the data that they've used for model of WTC-7 collapse. But that's okay because knowing how they made their model of the collapse would jeopardize the public safety. The FBI has argued that all material related to their investigation of all 9/11 should be kept a secret from the public. But that's okay because the FBI probably hasn't mentioned to hide the man never existed, nor is anything he had to say worthy of your attention. And if you say otherwise, you're a paranoid conspiracy theorist and deserve to be shunned by all humanity likewise. Okay? So all these other different entities, FBI, DOT, who else was it? SEC, DIA, NRO, NORAD, FEMA, right? They all covered up data, right, from this, right? Why? Okay, why delete data? You know what I'm saying? Why? That question was never answered. Well, it was never asked, but it was never answered. Okay. Where are we at here? Worthy of your attention. All right, Bin Laden lived on the mountains and somehow got away. Then he was hiding out in Tora Bora, but somehow got away. Then he lived in Oboto-Taba for years, taunting the most intelligent military people we have to date, right? I mean, we have all kind of technology to go after somebody if we want, right? He was taunting them by sending out videos and everything else, right? All right, ultimately, a SEAL team, I think it was SEAL Team 6, finally found him in a daring SEAL team raid, which wasn't recorded on video, which he didn't resist or use his wife as a human shield, and which these crack special forces operations panicked and killed this unarmed man, supposedly the best source of intelligence about terrorism ever. So, I mean, I know what happened, right? If it happened that way, right? Okay, SEAL Team 6 or whatever, right? He was unarmed. They killed him, okay? I mean, he was going to get killed. It's like if you go out there and kill a cop, the likelihood of you coming out of that not dead is it's a slim chance, okay? So they're saying he killed a bunch of Americans, and they were going to kill him before he came back. All right, so he was going to die if that's what happened. Okay. Then they dumped his body in the ocean, telling everyone, right? They dumped his body in the ocean. Then a couple of dozen of that same SEAL team that captured him, the members died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. Okay? This is the story of 9/11, people. Okay? This was the story. What they want you to believe. Now, in conclusion of all this, what do I believe here on Jacob's Journey? I think this was all orchestrated by the Bush administration. Okay, couple people in a room. All right. Why? Right? Bush, you guys all know, was well into oil, right? Okay. I think he orchestrated this to go over there, to get a reason to go over there, right? Send his troops over there, set up shop so he could pump more oil out to better him and his father in the oil business, okay? And in killing two birds with one stone, right? The $2.3 trillion debt, he was going to wipe that out by, a plane supposedly hitting Pentagon, okay? That's what I think happened. But, for a jet fuel to burn a steel beam, it has to be an incredibly hot. It has to be incredibly hot, okay? It would never have happened with them, okay? In my experience, it would never have happened, okay? That was a controlled demolition of the buildings. Boom, 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 right? And the buildings fell, okay? That was it. The planes were a diversion, okay? All right. There was testimonies out there. I heard of firefighters, they could actually hear the blasts when they were running out. They were saying, okay? So that's it on this episode. Like always, we want you to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, let's help each other rather than hurt each other. Jacob's Journey, I'm out.